Okay, so today I'm going to be refurbishing up these toolboxes, the two cantilever boxes. We've got a Unifix one here and an old Draper one here. And what I'm doing first of all is just using the, make sure you wear your safety glasses. It's just using the wire wheel, or the copper wire wheel, in the drill to just remove off as much of the rusty coated paint cover as possible back to the bare metal. At the moment, be the same with this one here, and then you can just use some auto paint. I'll pick this primer up. You might want to use a nice primer, metal primer as well. Just some auto primer will do. This one's actually got some rust protection, so I thought that would be ideal. I'll pick that up. That Bowfix was in Lidl's, that was at the time, when I was having a look around the tools in the middle, so I just picked that up. That was a few pounds. That's ideal for this. And I picked up some Bowfix in red. They got different colours. They got green, white, grey, black, but I think there was red and green left when I was there, so I picked up the red. Like I say, white would have been nice to go with my drawer toolboxes, but these cantilever boxes, they get knocked around. White's probably not a good colour for the for cantilever boxes, to be honest with you. They get dragged about and knocked about and took to work and things like that. So this one's fairly rusty on the one side. Now the irony is that inside is probably a better place to make sure it's coated and painted than the outside, but we do all know that the outside is what we see and what we want to look nice. So it's a bit of an irony there. Obviously rust is like a contagion with metal, so it'll transfer to your tools. So all your tools, if your box is rusty, especially the inside of the box, then all that rust is going to transfer over onto your tools, and all your tools are going to get rusty and ruined, and one thing and another. So it is a good thing to do to make sure your toolbox is rust free. You don't really need to go and spend 30 to 40 quid on a new cantilever box. You just need a couple of quid and some spare time, really, for some cans. And like I say, it is best if you coat the inside. If you've got a compressor, I'd spray all the dirt and dust out from inside once you've removed all your tools. If not, hold it upside down, give it a good shake, get a brush in there and get as much as the muck out as you can. And even just a coat of primer on the inside walls and the tray containers and stuff like that should be fine, if you haven't got enough lacquer. So we've got our layer of primer on, and it looks quite nice, doesn't it? Quite a nice finish. See, nice and clear. The only problem is the lid disintegrated on the primer. I went to put it back on, and it snapped the nozzle off. So I've got to try and look like it was joined. So I've got to try and clip them little bits off either side and drill a hole almost about as big, so I can see if I can wedge that back on and see if we can get the other 2/3 out of this. Otherwise it's a waste. But it's ready for the first coat. Obviously can't do the other toolbox until I get some more primer, if I can't get that going. But we can get this one finished now. We can put a coat of red on here. So that's the one trouble with these. They're good enough. They was there for what I needed them there, and then they were cheap. I think they're about £2.50, something like that. Instead of going to the to Halfords, buying an auto can of primer for about 6 or 8 quid, is it? I think something like that, or probably even more. I think that was back in the day when I used to actually buy them, which is a while ago. So the cost of them has probably gone up, considering 4-stroke oil's gone up nearly 100%. From a motorbike. I wouldn't be surprised if the paint spray cans have as well. but you know, they're alright. They're a good product, they give a good finish. The product itself that's in the can is good, but looks like the you know, the nozzles and the lids the plastic on the lids are a bit weak. It just when I put it on, it snapped, and then obviously snapped off the as it fell through, it just snapped off the nozzle as well. We can't really do nothing about that. I can see if I can get it working again in a minute, but if I can't, I can't. Probably just have to buy another one for the other box, but we can get the red on there, so I'll do that now. Okay, so I can see after we've put the red coat on that the finish is actually quite nice. It's not that bad. The job is quite okay. Even the handles come up quite nice. There is that's just a shine that is off the reflection off the phone. You can see it'll follow the way along. Side's okay, not too bad. There was a little scratch, I think, was it on this side somewhere already when I put it in there after doing it, so I had to give it another couple of coats over the scratch. That's what I'm saying. Don't go to town, because you do knock toolboxes about and you're picking them out and you're putting them in and out of your garage or your workshop all the time. But the finish is quite nice for a couple of quid for a few spray cans from Lidl. I did notice you can get canner brush on eBay for a few quid, so it's probably the same. You know, it's an auto paint, so it's similar. I think I had one of their gold cans a few years back for the motorcycle project I was doing. Their paint's actually okay, so you didn't have to spend a lot on auto paint in the auto store, things like Alfred's and things like that. So we've got our Draper one ready to go as well now. I've started to take the paint back to the metal on there. There's a fair bit more rust on there. That one is actually, I was concerned having two boxes in red, where I was going to get confused as to which one was which in the tools, but that one is actually a 3-tier, the bottom and 2 top tiers, and I think this one's just the 2. It's got the bottom and then 1 on the top, so it should be easy to distinguish between the 2 when they're pushed in at their sides, on that side facing me, so it'll be easy to see. But so I'm not too bothered about that. I was going to do one in blue. Blue would have probably been a better colour when I was picking the paint, but when I was looking at the tools and I come across those auto paint things in Lidl, because they were cheap, I thought, well, I'm doing this project anyway, so it would be stupid not to pick those up. The only colours they had was red, green, like a lime green. I think it could have been a yellow, I'm not sure, but there was some colours. I think it was grey, it was green, it was lime green, grey, and red. So I thought, well, red's more a traditional tool colour, toolbox colour. I think the red one was the best choice. Now, if I've got enough red left over, I'm hoping to get this Draper one painted up in red as well. The can that I had a problem with and it broke the lid, what I did was, although it's not connected, it was sealed to the actual plunger, if you want to call it, that goes into the can, and it obviously it snapped off. So what I did was I just measured it, and then I think it was 3.1 in diameter, the actual plunger nozzle, and then I got a 3mm drill and drilled the actual nozzle entrance, and then I forced it on, because it was plastic obviously, and it was now very thin. It opened up a little bit and went on there snugly. There is a slight leakage out from underneath because it isn't sealed anymore, but it does spray now, and I should be able to get the other 2/3 out of the can onto this toolbox. It's not wasted now. So basically it just works like your nozzle now on your can of polish or your deodorant or whatever, but there is still a little bit of leakage that comes out from underneath because there's no complete seal, but it's better than nothing. But yeah, it turned out alright, not too bad. It turned out alright as well around the logo. The red paint was a lacquer, whereas the rust primer was an actual paint, and when it went on a fine mist it dried nice and finely. Now the lacquer, as you can see, it's done a nice job on the tops here, along the tops, but along some of the sides, especially the pieces, the moving parts there on the sides, they because it's a lacquer, it's similar to melamine paint or MDF cupboard or kitchen cupboard door paint. It likes to find its way together and bunch together, and then when it does that you can get the odd run. So on the vertical pieces and the little bits on the sides, etc., you can on the very bottoms end up over time when it's dried a slight run if you're not careful. That's the only trouble. Whereas when the primer went on, it just like an ordinary paint, where it went, if you go past in strokes, fine, it just set nicely. But that's the only trouble with a lacquer as opposed to a paint. That's the only thing you have to watch out for with the finish. But I didn't do too badly with it, and it didn't turn out too badly. There's no real considerable runs or anything like that on there, so it's okay. All in all, smartened it up, ready for winter. So the box itself and any of the tools in there won't get any more rust on there, and obviously transfer that over to the tools. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with the turnout for a few quid for a few rattle cans from Lidl. So obviously I haven't done the inside of the box, which mine on this particular box isn't too bad. There isn't really no rust on, and the paint hasn't flaked off, so it's I'm not too bothered with a bit of the old two-tone blue inside. But I don't know about the Draper one. I think that one might be fine as well inside. I don't know. Yeah, this seems to be okay. So it's probably just going to be an outside paint job for both of these. But like I said before, the most important place is really the inside. So if your inside isn't coated and you've got rust, especially all on the inside of your the sheet metal of the toolbox, then you need to at least primer that. But I'd primer and paint that, because that's what transfers the rust over to your tools. But yeah, obviously the outside is what you're going to look at, and what you're going to want to do first. But not too bad. That it turned out better than the Bowfix Lidl white paint that I used for the ammo toolbox. The old ammo box that I turned into a toolbox turned out better. And that again was the same lacquer, and it did pull up a little bit, like I said before, on that box. But this one wasn't too bad. So yeah, I'm not too fussed. It turned out quite alright. A few quid. Should last a few years, but you will knock them and scratch them and things like that. Like I say, after I finished it, I put it back in the shed, and there was I noticed on the side there was around about here somewhere there was a scratch where it had actually it knocked something, probably the shed door or something, on the way in. And I got it back out, and I put another couple of sprays over the top, and that's gone now. But you will anyway. Like I say, don't bother going to town. You will knock them about. You do cart them around and throw your tools in and out of the box. So, but all in all, quite happy with the result.